Hey guys, hope y'all are doing great today. Just wanted to do a quick tour of this blueberry bush during the winter and just another reason I don't prune my blueberry bushes. If the wood is really dead or there's a dead spot, I may just snip off that, but otherwise, if it's healthy growth, then, you can really just leave it, and to me, the bush does a whole lot better that way. It's a whole lot stronger, it's healthy, and the reason I'm going to go over today is you get a whole lot more blueberries. And if you just look at this bush, just give a still shot, they're just blueberry buds everywhere. And all so how you can tell if it's going to be a blueberry bud or a vegetative bud, which is just a shoot of the actual plant not producing blueberries on that, is if you look at these, take this branch right here, and all of these big fat swollen buds, sorry, I want to try to focus it a little bit better, all of these big fat swollen buds, 1 2 3 4 5 6, there's 6 on this shoot. And then it's harder to see, but this little bud right here is tiny, and that's a vegetative bud, and then another vegetative bud right here below it, and so on down the line there. But the big ones on the tips are where future blueberries will be. So all those big swollen buds will produce blueberries, and each one will be a cluster of blueberries. So it'll actually be, for each one of these, it'll be multiple blueberries coming off of here, usually 4 or 5 or so, around that amount. And so for every one of those, so that's like 30 blueberries, if there's 6 buds right here. I didn't really count these, but so there's 6 on this branch, and that's about 30 blueberries just in, a 6-inch space. And, a lot of people would say, oh, you need to, let's take a look at this kind of framework right here. This one's kind of bushy because it kind of grew up with multiple stems. As you can see, there's a lot of thick growth right in there. A lot of these big branches right here that are turning white are really, older branches, so they're thicker. And but a lot of people would say, oh, you need to come in here and you need to prune out one of these, main branches, to renew it because it's getting older. Or like sometimes I've heard people say, take off this, this old growth, this old branch right here next year, it won't be producing berries anymore, and you need to renew it and have new shoots come up. Well, it's really actually just getting into production really good. As you can see, let's focus in on this area. It is just covered with those big bud swells. It will produce blueberries, and it will do so for a very, very long more time. And what will happen is blueberries, if this does get to the point where it slowed down in production, it will send out a vigorous shoot, like say something like here's an example, kind of like this shoot right here grew just this past year, most likely, and so it came from all the way down here all the way up here, and it will act as a replacement, if this branch ever did slow down production. But as you can see, it's really just going crazy with the amount of blueberries that it's producing now. And so if you were to go in here and let's just take another look at here closely. Say there's a shoot right here that, sorry, it's hard to see with kind of the dark, but let's go in and here's an example. These 2 shoots right here are going into the middle of the bush. That's why it's, most people would say, oh, you need to prune those off, they're not gonna produce any berries. And well, just look at them, they're full of berries. And they'd say, oh, it's shaded right here, but it gets enough sunlight that it only will produce these swollen buds where blueberries will be if it has received enough sunlight. There's neighbor's pool in the background, and but around the property line, these blueberries kind of run as a hedge, straight back that way along our property line. And this ditch right here is the neighbor's house, but so it these shoots right here would have, they're just, here's a huge cluster, about 4 or 5. There's 2 right there. There's 4 or so right there, and what will happen is, say this bush will probably continue to grow, you know, up this way. So this branch may get shaded, you know, in by a year or 2, and what will happen is the branch will self-prune itself. The shade will trigger the bush to stop growing this branch, and it will not get any sunlight, so it won't have any fruit buds on it. And the tree will say, okay, well, I need to focus the bush, the blueberry bush will, you know, say, okay, I need to focus on, you know, sending growth to these outer and topmost branches. And as you can see, it has sent up a new vigorous shoot right here. That is, all of these shoots are 1-year growth that are this past year. And so as you can see, it sends off these long new shoots, and even they will have, you know, a few blueberries on the tips. And what will happen is next year, these shoots will have these side shoots coming out this way and this way and this way, all on each side, and they will look like kind of this thick cluster looks right here, where they're just filled with berries going out every which way. And so not having, you know, not going in and clipping out unnecessarily, you know, the bush will self-prune itself. And it's a neat little, as you can see in this kind of thick area, this is a praying mantis egg sac, so that's always cool to see in there. And just growing off, it's growing really high off on this side. All these new shoots right here, they'll be making side shoots this next year. And here's just one of these new shoots that come up from the side that I may dig up and transplant, make another blueberry bush. And it's really just having a ton of berries on there. And so by not clipping all this extra excess off, because, you know, you need to focus vigor, this one bush right here will create so many berries that it won't even be funny. And the deer may snack on them a little bit, you know, but once the bush really gets this big, once it gets about, you know, 4 feet tall, 4 feet wide, the deer really leave it alone almost. And what'll happen is it'll send some of these some vegetative shoots will come up, you know, from down, you know, a little bit lower, and they will kind of cover the area, or at least, you know, kind of surround the berries so that it's protected. And that you know, if they munch some on the sides, at least there's just a ton right here in this top section. And usually down lower too, you know, they leave totally alone, and most of the time they leave it really alone right here on the sides too. And so just wanted to give y'all an update and show, you know, if you're clipping off these branches, you're clipping off future blueberries. So, you know, just let it be a little bit wild and let it grow crazy. And it's really beautiful that way. And I just love these red blueberry tips and the buds. I'm just getting excited about some future blueberries this spring. And if you hadn't planted blueberries, I totally recommend them. They're so delicious and healthy, wonderful summer snack. Kind of start producing first thing. So hope y'all guys enjoyed it, and if you would love to like and subscribe, that'd be awesome. And I will talk to you guys soon. Bye guys.